Welcome to this week's Menopause Matters Live, and today I'm talking about heart palpitations, and it's something that a lot more women struggle with than perhaps you might imagine. It's a pretty common symptom, and it's not always down to the menopause, although it can happen around the same time. So I'm going to talk about the different causes of heart palpitations and different approaches and what you can do about it. Because I think for a lot of women it's very concerning. You suddenly get these palpitations. I have had them myself, so I know what it feels like, and I have managed to get rid of them, which I'll talk about. So what are heart palpitations? They're basically like, it feels like your heart is racing or fluttering, or it can be a pounding in the chest, and it's different for everybody. For me, it was fluttering. I didn't feel like my heart was racing, but I would feel, like a flutter, like suddenly, boom, 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 boom. And it was, it would happen. I noticed that when I felt a little bit stressed or anxious, then it would come on even stronger. But for me, it wasn't related so much to a loss of hormones, and it was more related to a mineral imbalance, which I'm going to come on to and talk about. The problem with them is that they're often overlooked or dismissed, but there are real causes. And if they're really bad, the medical profession approach is to offer things like beta blockers, which come with their own issues, and they're not getting to the root cause of the problem. They're not actually solving what the real reason why you've got them in the first place. And if you're like me, you don't want a sticking plaster over the problem. You actually want to resolve it because there's a real reason why you've got, suddenly developed heart palpitations. And it can be very unnerving, and it can feel really uncomfortable. It's not painful in any way, but it can cause more worry, and I think that kind of perpetuates it and makes it worse. So let's start off talking about hormones, specifically progesterone and estrogen. So during menopause or perimenopause, our progesterone levels do drop, and progesterone has a very calming effect on the body. And when we lose too much progesterone, especially in relation to estrogen, we can start to feel that anxiety, and it can develop heart palpitations. So what are the solutions? Well, if you're not producing enough progesterone, then many will turn to HRT, but sometimes the balance of HRT, the balance between estrogen and progesterone, is wrong, and it can actually make things worse. So I've had clients who have said that actually when they went on HRT, their heart palpitations got worse, not better. If HRT has too much estrogen in relation to progesterone, which can happen with the wrong dosing, palpitations can continue. And if you're given synthetic progestins, which are not real progesterone, they don't work in the same way as body identical progesterone. They are a synthetic version with a slightly different chemical structure, and they don't tend to have as good a response for heart palpitations. So you definitely want to be making sure that you are on a body identical or bioidentical form of progesterone, and not you've not been given progestins, which are synthetic and come with all sorts of side effects and risk factors that you're often not told about. Then we need to look at blood sugar. Blood sugar swings can trigger or worsen palpitations, and perimenopause and menopause makes blood sugar much more difficult to regulate. I've talked about this before. I've done actual lives on blood sugar and the effect of menopause on blood sugar, and the fact that we are much more prone to having issues with our blood sugar as we hit menopause. So it's really important to look at how your blood sugar is balanced Adrenal stress also, blood sugar spikes and crashes put strain on the adrenals, and the adrenals are a really key part of managing heart rate and stress. So we have to look at everything. We can't just go, right, it's this that's causing it. There is often lots of things that lead to the developing of heart palpitations. You can use, for blood sugar, there are some simple strategies that everyone can do, making sure they're getting plenty of protein in their meals, not too much carbohydrates, not leaving gaps too long between meals, making sure that you go for a walk after a carby meal, a bit of apple cider vinegar before meals, lots of different things you can do to help stabilise your blood sugar. This really helps to reduce stress and improve adrenal health, and it can have an impact on palpitations. I have had clients whose was waking up in the night with really bad heart palpitations, and it turned out that she had very, very dysregulated blood sugar. And when we got that under control, everything improved. So if you're waking in the night with heart palpitations, that's an area to look at. And then there's the role of minerals in heart health. And as you know, if you've been following me for a little while or a long while, you'll know that I talk about minerals all the time because they are absolutely essential for everything. And because of that, they're essential for heart rhythm and function. So there are some key minerals that we have to look at. So potassium and magnesium help to maintain a steady heartbeat, and deficiencies in either or both of those are very common, especially in menopausal women or perimenopausal women. I see it all the time, and low levels of those two minerals can lead to palpitations. On top of that, copper, another mineral but also a metal, is needed in small amounts, but at high levels it's very harmful. Again, I've done a whole talk on copper recently, so if you want to look at that, you can just go back in my feed and look at my previous lives on my videos page. High copper can increase anxiety, and it can overstimulate the nervous system. And hormonal changes during menopause can actually raise copper levels, but so can HRT, the pill. Anything that's got estrogen or estrogenic effects can raise copper levels in the body. And too much copper, unopposed, so not kept in check, can really affect your anxiety levels and thus heart palpitations. So at the beginning I spoke about my experience. So earlier this year I had suddenly developed heart palpitations, and they wouldn't go away. I waited a little while because I just thought it might just be a short-lived thing. It didn't feel like it was anything dangerous. I didn't feel like I was going to have a heart attack or anything like that. But after a month or so, they weren't going away, and they're probably actually getting a bit worse. I didn't go to the doctor because I knew that they weren't going to be able to help me with it. It was, I was never going to go on medications for it. I knew that there was an underlying cause, and I had to find out what it was. And after doing some investigation, I realised that it was very likely to be a mineral imbalance, potassium, magnesium, and because I was basically dumping copper. And when you start to dump copper, because I had a lot of copper in my body, I didn't have the things in place to pick it all up, and it was causing, with the low potassium, high copper actually leads to low potassium. My magnesium was probably depleted, and as soon as I started to sort that out, my palpitations went, and I haven't had them since. I probably haven't had them now for about 6 months. So yeah, they went. Now, that was the issue for me. Is it the issue for you? I don't know. It could be. It could be a number of things. That's why you have to kind of do investigation and find out what it is and work from there. So, and that I think is a really powerful reminder of how minerals impact heart health and why they are so important for every aspect of our health. In terms of how to find out if your minerals or your blood sugar are contributing to your heart palpitations, testing is the best way to identify your unique mineral status, and it can also give us insights into blood sugar. My health questionnaire with my clients also gives me information about their blood sugar needs and their blood sugar regulation or dysregulation. But mineral testing reveals deficiencies or imbalances, and it really does make a difference. So it's very, very important to look at that side of things. So testing is a great way to do that, and blood sugar monitoring can show if fluctuations are affecting your symptoms. There are different ways to monitor your blood sugar. You can use a CGM, which is a continuous blood glucose monitor. You can use a finger prick test, lots of different ways. And but if you're, there's some key signs, like if you get hangry when you haven't eaten, if you get irritable between meals, if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you get sugar cravings after eating your main meals, especially after dinner, if you get afternoon slumps, all of those are indicators that there is an issue with blood sugar. So just to recap, heart palpitations aren't caused by one thing. There are multiple things that can determine or can lead to heart palpitations, and it is a case of unpicking it and working out which is the issue for you. If you would like help with that, if you would like more information on mineral testing or how to monitor your blood sugar and actually resolve this, then all you need to do is comment below and let me know, and I will send you some information. We can chat more, or you can send me a direct message if you prefer. I can help guide you through the testing process to identify your own needs. It's really the first step to understanding and relieving those symptoms. We have to do a little bit of investigation, and I'm trained to help people to do that, to unpick it, because it's very difficult to do that on your own. It's hard enough to do it on your own when you're kind of trained as I am. Doing it on myself, it's often a little bit difficult to be objective, but if you don't have my training, then it's going to be even more difficult, because you're shooting in the dark. You don't really know what you're looking for. And one thing I think is really important, heart palpitations are not part of aging. They're not a natural part of aging. They do happen often when we hit our kind of later 40s and 50s. That's probably much more common than in our 20s, but it's not a natural part of aging, and don't let anybody tell you that it is. And it's not something that you should live with, and it's not something that, unless there is something structurally wrong with your heart that requires medications. There are, if there's nothing, if a doctor can't find anything wrong with your heart, then chances are it's something else. And by understanding the causes, the other causes, hormonal, mineral or blood sugar, we can really take real steps to address them. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching today. I hope it helps you on your journey. If you have questions, just ask in the comments. And if you would like more information, then again, ask or DM me, and I will get back to you with information. All right, have a great day. Take care. Bye for now.